Hey guys, this is the first time I'm trying this, and I'm doing a talkover for recording. I'm gonna try to explain what I'm doing here. So, this picture was done as a Twitter giveaway for my 1,000 followers, and I believe the Twitter user was Zendragon. I'll have it linked down below, along with actually screen caps of all my brush settings that I'm using, which right now I'm using a not solid pencil, but something very close to it, just to kind of give it a little bit of a see-through look to it. But first I did my sketch in Manga Studio like I normally do, which is the blue pencil-like layer below that you guys see that I'm drawing the inks over. I use Manga Studio mostly for sketching and then finish everything up in Sai, just because I've used Sai for ever since I've done digital. I know a lot of people use Photoshop and things that are a little more detailed, I guess. They have more settings and everything. But Sai does what I need to, and I take it into other programs like Manga Studio and Photoshop when I need to add the things that they do, like text or filters or anything like that. So really, here I'm just drawing in all the fine details of the tail. Alright, and so this is the part where I start to do the dark border around the character. This makes it easier for me to select the area that I want to color in versus the area I don't want to color in. So if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll see that I do a big flood fill to do a base layer on that I then clip my coloring layers to, which as I do other layers I will let you guys know. But still just working on the line art layer. Just making sure everything has the darker line, all the holes are filled in, so when the select tool comes out it won't select any of the character I do want to keep in the normal color. There we go. Do select, reverse, and then fill. The character's white, so she immediately became white again to match the background there. While I was doing the coloring for this, I was streaming, and the owner of the character did inform me that her character had been updated, so that's why I'm kind of just messing around there for a second, because I was waiting for the updated reference to go off for the markings. So they're going the different markings there, and then I start to blend with the marker tool, which again, like I said, I'll have everything down below, just like screen captures of the settings for that. But I use my marker tool, my settings for the marker tool, to blend out for patterns to make them not just solid blocks. Like there you go, like you see on the tail there, like, or make it look like little fur coming up on the marking so it doesn't just look like a solid thing. Shade going into the eyes there, and I start doing the clothing. Clothing isn't 100% from the reference because they said it just could be like the clothing on the reference. I tried to keep all the accessories the same, like the rings and anklets and the tail band, things like that. But when I'm normally coloring and I'm not blending just for the flat color layer, I just use the regular default paintbrush in Sai, and so that's what I do all of my big block colors with. That you see me just filling in. And that, it's probably one of the most tedious parts, is just filling in the block color of everything before I start adding shading and everything to it, which this is going to be a full shaded piece, so this is where I crop out the layer and I start doing my little touch-ups. So this will be the final size of the commission. Okay, and so this is when I go into the shading layer. What I do is I make a layer above the flat colors, and make it a multiply layer and clip it to it. And then I use I never use a gray. I use like a darker version of this one. Was like pink. You can see the color on the white of the character. And then what I do is I take white with the paintbrush tool again and just block in some larger colors, and then I use my preset, like the one I've messed with, watercolor brush, which again I'll have linked below so you guys can look at if you guys would like to check it out. And that's what I use to blend the shading in to make like the brighter areas versus the darker areas, things like that. Normally with commissions, I don't have very dramatic lighting, so it's just kind of ambient from the front. And so I'll just fill in where it's like, oh, you know, this will be where you'd see it, and this is kind of hidden, so it gets shaded more than the other area, etc. But yeah, the blending. When it comes to hair, I specifically do a different way though, which I take my marker tool, which I use for the fur blending as well, and just do long streaks in it just to make it kind of look like hair strands. It doesn't make individual hair strands, but it gives it that textured look. Also, once I get all the base shading done there, I go back and do highlights to make it look a little more like the character has fur on the body, on the tail and everything, just to give it kind of more of a texture than just a smooth, because she does have fur as a character like this would have. So she gets tufts on her ears, on her elbows, on her tail, things like that. And then now I'm going into the highlights layer, which would be the layer above the multiply layer, just set as overlay, and I just use white to add highlights, which I do like a big base highlight, just like the front areas and everything. And then I start going through and doing little highlights just where I think it needs to be a little brighter. Just like that, where it's like on the pants, where I feel like the light would be hitting it more on the face and on the chest. And then also the little details on the accessories, I like to try and make those pop as well. And the highlights on the eyes. And the background's going in, and so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you, and I will see you next time.